So let's do faces. Okay, so faces. So there's two parts to faces. First of all, there's actually setting the faces up. And faces really work on, there's really three types of faces. There's faces that you draw in the matrix, which are made up of bitmap images of the face with the mouth in various different, speaking various different phonemes. You then have single channel models. So these are models where you only have typically around about 8 or so channels controlling all of the lights on the face. So, you know, the outline's typically one channel. You typically have 2 channels for the eyes, one for them open, one for them closed. And then you'd have a handful of channels covering the various mouth elements, and you would typically turn one or two of them on for each of the phonemes, depending on what shape you wanted the mouth to be. And then you've got ones which have pixels in it, and this one in particular has got you know, it's got the screw bulb at the bottom, it's got the surround, it's got the eyes which can be open or closed, and then this one here's got a few more mouth positions, etc. And so the first thing you need to do, of course, is you need to create one of the models. Now there's a couple of ways you can do it. We talked a few weeks ago about generating a custom model. So here I've got a video that someone took. I'm not going to go through this whole thing. It looks stretched because the way the video is displayed, it's not actually stretched. And we can let this run for a little while. And what this will do is it will play that video and it will attempt to find the start frame, which is when all the lights flash. We'll let that run. Give it a second, it'll start playing the bulbs. So this is a test pattern that was generated by the prepare step here, which I didn't go through. And it just goes through and basically progressively lights up all the bulbs. Not quite sure why this video runs very slowly during this first part of the process. Come on. Okay, it's taking its time. We'll forget that. All right, so one of the things you can do that and try and generate the model. This one didn't generate very well. You can also, of course, load in a model. So we can go and create a custom model. Here we go, grab the model data, come into here. I happen to have, this is a spreadsheet model that was produced by someone. If you look closely at this, you'll see that it's set up as a dumb string model where lots and lots of bulbs have the same numbers. This one happens to have 8 channels. If you're going to do a model, if you're going to bring something like this in, you've got to work out where the ends are and highlight it all. And it'll tell me that it's 78 high by 77 wide. So I come back to here and I make it 77 wide by 78 high. And I come here and I, oops. Get out of the way. Okay. And I just paste that data in, and if I shrink this down a little bit, hopefully you'll be able to see. You probably can't because the screen resolution is really poor, particularly on the video, but all that data's come in and highlighted all up. So if I click on OK here, there's my image. So it's got a custom model which has got all the lights on and everything else. It looks great. The only challenge is that you need to now go and define the face and do that down here with this faces element. Okay, now because this is a dumb string model, really doesn't matter what you call that. we'll come down here and we use the single nodes. There's single node ranges. So node ranges are used if you're using pixels for the lights, and matrix, so if you're using images for the phonomes. But here we're using single nodes because this has only got 8 channels, and so we go in here and we choose the channel that happens to represent it. So here, node 1's the outline, the eyes open, I think is nodes 2 and 4. Hold down the control key to select multiple. Don't press the OK button. I do that all the time. Sometimes you have to click that a few times. Nodes 3 and 5. Yes. 3 and 5 are the eyes closed. And then with the mouth, AI. So with the mouth, typically, if you can find instructions, it's great. I haven't actually found any good instructions, but I do have this image here, which shows all of the different sounds up here on the top. And I can see that the AI and the L, the mouth is really wide open. And I know that that happens to be node 4, which is the bottom of the very bottom of the mouth, and node 8, which happens to be the very top of the mouth. And so I'd set AI to that, and in the case of L, I'd set it to the same. It's okay to use the same mouth type for multiple phonemes, particularly when you've got a model like this, which is quite limited in terms of the mouth shapes that it supports. So you just have to double things up accordingly. Something like an O, the O here, the U and the WQ are all very similar. They're all round mouth shapes. And so you'd probably use this center one in the middle, which I think from memory is node 5. If you're not sure which one's which, just go back to your spreadsheet. Blow it up again. Okay, scroll down. Okay, you can see around the middle of the face here, they're all tagged as a 5. So the middle of the mouth is a 5, so we set the O, the U, and the WQ to be node 5. And so when a U is meant to be said, it's going to light up that circle in the middle. When an AI sound is being said, it's going to light up the top of the mouth and the very bottom of the mouth, which will make the mouth look like it's really open. What else have we got? So ETC and FV are both pretty much the same. The mouth slightly ajar, so we're going to want the top of the mouth and this middle line here lit up. So we go back to the spreadsheet and we can see that 7 and 8. So for E, it's nodes 7 and 8, and for FV, it's nodes 7 and 8. All right, almost clicked on OK. ETC. Oh, damn. Actually, yeah, okay, so E is actually very similar. Because we've got such a limited mouth shape, I'm pretty much going to have to do E and ETC and FV all the same. Because our mouth shape here just doesn't really have another, I don't have yet another string of lights here to maybe make the mouth look a little bit more wide open for an E, so I have no choice. Actually, no, I do have a choice. I could use 4 and 7 if I wanted to show that for E, make it look a little bit wider. So we'll go back into E, we'll make him 4 and 7. It might look a little weird when your top lip drops like that, but what the hell? At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. What have we got left? MBP and rest. So MBP looks pretty wide and rest is a little bit lower. So we'll do node 8 for MBP. And we'll do node 7 for rest. And we're done. So the model's all set up. Now we can go in and define some custom colors. So we can force some colors here. which will force those lights to be that particular color when it lights up. So this is a tree. If I double click on it, I can say green, and my tree will always be green. Maybe my eyes, when they're open, I always want them to be, I don't know, blue. That makes sense. When they're closed, I don't know, what do I want them? Pink. What the hell? Doesn't really matter. But I'll leave all the other colors, all the other colors will be white. So all the mouth shapes will show up as white. It doesn't make a lot of sense. If you're going to define any of these to be a color, you pretty much have to all define them to be the same color. Otherwise, it's going to look a little bit silly. So that's how you go and set a face model up. Now, once you've set that face model up, you will not touch it again. You can use it across multiple sequences. You don't need to go in and redefine it. If you want to create another model, which is, another one of these faces, you just cut and paste it. You don't have to go in and redefine all the face. It's all good. With these, it's a little bit more fiddly. And the reason it's a little bit more fiddly is because you've got to worry about, remember this is pixels, and so you've got to know what the layout of the bulbs are. You've got to know which bulbs go where, so whereabouts the end of the outline is. So the outline would include all of the screw at the bottom as well as the surrounds on the face. And then you need to know where it goes next. Now, with a lot of these things, they come with, and this is probably not easy to see, it's a shocking image, but it comes with a bit of a wiring diagram to say, well, this is how you should wire it, whereabouts you should jump and so forth. Assuming you follow those instructions, it kind of helps by telling you which nodes you should be setting. So when it comes time to start filling it in, that will help. Again, it just tells you what mouth 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. What it doesn't tell you is which mouths to use. This image happens to, though. This image is actually for that face, and it gives you the mouth 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. For some reason, they don't tell you what the channels are here for a WQ, or they don't give you anything for WQ, and so you either have to reuse what you're using for O, or in this case, you could actually, because these are pixels, we could actually choose to use these few bulbs here off this particular string and these few bulbs off this particular string and produce an even smaller circle than the circle that you would normally use for an O. So when you've got pixels, you have a lot more options, including doing some pretty funky stuff. So later I'll show you how to make the screw a different color to the bulb, and we can actually change the bulb color while the face is singing and things like that. So, so let's show you what that looks like. So I'm not going to type this all in because it takes forever. Okay. Yeah, what the hell. So here's our faces nodes. And so it's all done by just defining channel ranges. In this case, the face outline is defined as channels 1 to 67. So 1 is down here at the bottom, and 67 basically it comes all the way up to the edge. It goes around the face and ends up over here, and that's bulb 67. So all of those bulbs are associated with the outline. And then the rest of the channels are all associated with various other bulbs on the face here. When you're defining the ranges, if this is bulbs 1 to 67, this one here you've got two disjointed ranges, so it's 82 to 89, 98 to 107. So you can add as many ranges, you can add individual bulbs. You just need to work out which bulbs you need to light up for that particular phenome or that particular set of eyes, etc. And once again, you define this once. Right, so you build your model, you wire it all up, you work out which bulbs are which faces, which parts of the face you want to light up for each phenome, and you set it all up in your model once. And once you've done that, you will never touch this again. There's no reason to. Now, I also want to control, as I said, the screw and the face. And so I've got two hidden models here, two unassigned models, which has just two strings. This one here is 26 bulbs long, and 26 bulbs happens to be, and we'll go to all, 26 bulbs happens to be the number of bulbs that exist in that screw at the bottom, the screw-in part of the bulb. And this one here has 41 bulbs, which happens to be the number of bulbs that are in the surround on the face. And because they're mapped to exactly the same channel numbers over here, you can see that the screw starts at 1000, the bulb starts at 1000, so they both start at the same place. If I drop an effect onto these lines, it will light up part of the bulb. So if I drop an effect onto this part here, it will change the color of the screw. And if I drop an effect onto this line here, it will change the color of the outline of the bulb. And as long as you put it on different layers on, as long as you put them in the right order, so the right color takes the right precedence, we'll be able to put some pretty cool effects onto this bulb and make it look like the bulbs changing color and the like. So we'll come back to that later. Okay, so finally we have a matrix. You can also do this with a tree. Really, there's no other models that really make a lot of sense, but if you've got a matrix or a tree, you may want to put faces on those as well. And once again, you go to the faces attributes. And here what you need to do is you need to put a file name in for each of the faces. Here what I've done, so to do this you okay, hang on. I'll get rid of that. How do I do this? That's how I do it. I double click on it when it's not selected. So this is the AI. So what you need to do is you need to get yourself a set of images like this one. So here we have a folder full of snowman images, and each one's got a slightly different mouth shape on it, and you just have to choose the appropriate image to put against that particular phenome. And that's all you need to do for a matrix image. Just go through and add all of those against the matrix. Again, once you're done, you can show that face effect. Now, if you've got multiple faces that you want to show on that matrix, that's okay. Where are we? Faces. So let's say I wanted, that's my snowman. Let's say I wanted to add a tree onto it. I'm going to say matrix again. Matrix again, there we are. Mouth E. I just need to go to a folder. What do you know? My sequencing assets that you've all downloaded by now. I've got a whole bunch of matrix faces. None of them, to be honest, are going to be fabulous for this, but it doesn't matter. We'll use the girl trees. I think I clicked on the E. I did. AI, ETC, F, L, MVP, O, rest, U, and WQ. And now that matrix is defined with two sets of faces. So when it's matrix, it's the snowman. When it's tree, it's the girl. And so during the one sequence, we'll be able to switch backwards and forwards between those two faces on the matrix. So if you wanted to define 3 or 4 of them on there, you can do that. And if you're careful, you can even show 3 or 4 of them at the same time. Okay. We're done. That's setting up your models. You do that once and you can reuse it. Should we move on and actually do a sequence? Yes, all right. All right. Okay, let's go create a sequence. I chose the most annoying song I could find. And done. All right. So here we have a sequence, and the first thing you're going to want to do is lay your hands on the lyrics for the song, which I thought I put in. I did. Doesn't it switch? So here's the lyrics for this particular song. Now, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. One way you can do this is you can just cut and paste all the lyrics at once in. Let's do that. Lots of people don't like this, and I'll show you why. So what you do, you come to your new timing. Let's bring all of our models up. There's all of our models. We right-click, and we click on Import Lyrics. Pops up, invites me to click paste all those lyrics in. I click OK, and it's created it's added all those lyrics onto that timing track. And if we come to the beginning here and we zoom in, you can see what it's done is it's basically spread those lyrics out across the song, using each line as an indication of a break, and it's just spread them universally across the song. There's a problem though. I still haven't found the beginning of the song. Come back here. Okay, it's about there. Is that right? Or maybe it's not. But anyway, it's a fair way into the song. And so if you wanted to now go and sort of move all these things around, because we're going to have to get all these phrases into the right place on the song, you're going to have to do a lot of shuffling, because when you start to move these things, all right, and when I start to move this thing along, when I get to the end, I can't move it any further. So if that has to go further, now I have to come over here and I have to shuffle that one, and then I have to shuffle that one, and so on. And so you can spend half of your life just moving all of these things around. So that doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's add a timing track. What's the name of this? We'll call this vocals. If I could type. Okay, so what's the alternate way to do it? Well, the alternate way to do it, I'll delete that timing track because that's a horrific timing track. So now what we'll do is we'll go back to the song and we'll force you to listen to it until we find the first set of lyrics. All right, so there it is. It's around about here. It was right. It was about the 22-second mark. So I'm going to roughly mark it out as there. And all he says is ho, which is that first line of the song. So it's almost not worth cutting and pasting it, but I am going to cut and paste it. I'm going to come here. I'm going to double click on that interval, and I'm going to type in the word ho. All right. Now let's see if we can get a little bit more accurate about the placement. So we'll highlight that section, we'll put it into loop. All right. Okay, so that's about where it starts, but it seems to go on a little bit further than I thought. Okay, so now's when we're going to slow the audio down because it gets can be a little bit hard to find. All right, so I reckon it's closer to there. All right, so here's our second line around about here. This is not an easy waveform to do because it's obviously quite noisy in there, but there's our second segment, and it happens to be ho, ho, ho. All right, now I'm going to jump ahead here somewhere. Let's find another section.
Oh, through the rain and winter snow.
All right, through the rain and winter snow. Where's that? There we are. So now I'm going to jump in and we'll start to break this down. We'll do this segment in detail. So you can see this is quite time consuming to do, but let's do this part. Let's assume that that's roughly about right. So the first thing we're going to do is want to break this thing down into words. And so if you right click on this, you can select breakdown phrase, and it will add another line here. Okay. Oh, the first time you do it, it's busy loading the dictionary. The dictionary's got something like 40,000 words inside it. And so it takes a little bit of time. And so what it's taken that sentence there and it's broken it down into individual words. Now we go back and we have to start working out exactly where each word needs to be placed. So this again gets quite tedious, but let's, and I'm sorry, I'm going to turn the volume down a little bit so you guys don't get too annoyed by it. I have it low, but I could be lower. All right.
The rain and winter snow. The rain and winter snow. The rain and winter
That's three finishes there.
The rain and winter snow.
The finish is about there.
The rain and winter snow. The rain and winter snow. The rain and winter snow.
About there.
The rain and winter snow. The rain and winter snow.
It's the
winter
snow.
The rain and winter snow. The rain and winter snow. The rain and winter snow.
And winter snow finishes about there. All right, you can see how putting it on loop, I'm not trying to get it enormously precise, but you can get all those words roughly positioned. You have to get these words positioned at this point. You really don't want to be trying to do it at the phenome level. So when you're done with that, we can come up to here and why can't I select? Why is it not letting me select that? Okay. Should let me select all of that. So, okay, I'm going to control select them if I have to. And now we right click on them and we say break those selected words down. And so what it does is it breaks it down into the individual phenomes. And generally speaking, this is good enough. You really don't need to play with things at this level, except when you get words which are really dragged out in the lyrics. And snow is a classic example of that. Sorry, what was it? Whoa. Okay. So here's our snow here. Need a wider screen. And we'll zoom back out one more time. So I'm going to just grab that snow word.
Snow, 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 snow.
And you can see that the O sound is really dragged out. So you can see that the O sound is really dragged out compared to everything else. And so what we want to do is we want to drag these in. These two ETCs in a row, you could actually delete one and merge them together, so it's kind of harmless. But here the snow, the O sound is really, really long, and so we want to drag the O sound out and make it cover a much larger portion of the phrase. And we have to go through and look, it takes a little bit of time, truth be told, but you need to go through and do the whole song, paste in each phrase one at a time, break it down. Now you can go through and do, to be honest, I like to paste all the phrases in to start with, then I break them all down into words, and then I do all the words at once. When I'm happy with that, I break it down into all the phrases, but that's going to take a long time, obviously. So let's just go with that one phrase of the song, and let's start to put it onto our faces. Let's start with our matrix. So our matrix is down here. We'll line the timeline up there. I'll highlight that section because we're going to loop it around. And we go up and we grab the faces effect. So the faces effect is up here, and we come down and we drag it onto the matrix. And there he is, and nothing is happening, which is not surprising. Model preview. So the first thing we need to do is we need to choose which of the matrix effects to use, which of the effects to use. So we're going to use matrix. Why is that not rendering? Oh, okay. No, not, oh, there. Oh, okay. I have to select it. All right, so here I can go and I can just choose which phenome to display, and you can see that the face changes and different face shapes turn up. But obviously that's not what I really want to do. I want to use all those timing marks in my timing track. So I click on my timing track and I select my vocals timing track, and now his mouth begins to move in proportion to what's going on here. And if I play it, hopefully it will look somewhat synced. So you can see how we held the O there for the entire, for the length of that snow sound, and that's because we stretched that O sound out. Now, if you're just going to show the one face for the whole song, you can stretch this faces effect to cover the whole song. You don't have to drop a new faces effect for each phrase or anything. You just drop the one, you point it at the timing track, and it will just read this third layer of the timing track, and for each phenome, it will decide which one to display. Now, if we don't like our snowman, of course, we defined a tree. The tree doesn't look very good because this is not actually a tree. It's a little bit wide for a tree. But this is that girl tree being displayed on a matrix. We probably should have created a tree and done it there. But it's a similar idea. So yeah, changing a face when you've got multiple definitions, changing which face sings is as simple as just choosing a different face definition from the ones you set up on your matrix or your tree. So that's how you'd go about putting a face onto a matrix. Turning on our bulb is actually no harder. Again, we grab the faces effect, we drop it onto our bulb. Okay, same thing, we choose timing track. We have to choose the right sort of face. We're going to show the outline. Now it's going to pick colors up from up here, so we can set different colors for different elements. And again, when we play it, so again, you held the O sound for that entire snow. And so now we've taken the same song, we've used the same timing track, and we've put it on two different models with almost no work at all. And of course, it's absolutely no harder to put it on our custom model, which is our model, which is based on RGB lights rather than pixels. Again, we have to choose the right model, which is Tree, I think. There he is. And again, I play that segment. And it's no harder to do it there. Now, let's say you wanted to have each face singing slightly different lyrics at the same time. That's not hard either. You just need to come up here, add a timing track. We'll call this vocal 2. Right. You come in here, you set your timing marks wherever you want to set them. Same place maybe. Let's get rid of that. Let's set them here. So we set one there. We'll set one there. You know, another set of lyrics. Okay, because the backing singers sing a different set of lyrics. Again, we'll break the phrase down. Again, we're going to break down the words. Okay, and now we've got another set of lyrics here, all broken down, all the phonemes there. And you know, if we want our matrix to actually sing the backup track, we just come over here and we choose vocals 2. And now the matrix is singing the backup track while the other 2 models continue to sing this track up here. You can have as many of these Papagayo tracks as you want, and you can point as many different models as you like to different things. And so you can have as many faces as you want, all singing the same thing. You can also, as I was showing you earlier, if you've got multiple faces that are singing the chorus line and they're all singing the same thing, you just point them all at the same timing track. If you want a face to sing a different timing track at a different time, just create a different timing effect, drop it on, and point that one to a different timing track. It doesn't have to all be the same along the line. It will deal with that all quite happily. So let's, I guess the final thing I wanted to do on this was to show what the bulb and what we can do with this bulb. So that looks great, except the bottom of the bulb really shouldn't be blue. So let's grab an on effect, drop it onto the screw, and let's change that color. Let's change it to an off grey-white. Okay, so it's grey, and the outline, let's drop a bars effect on that. We'll make the bars going up, and we'll make that red, green, blue, and yellow. And so it just flicks between those colours over the duration. That looks pretty good. Yep, okay. So now we'll come up to here. We'll highlight that section again. Let's bring back our house model so that we can actually see them. See if we can make that a bit bigger. I'm imagining that's pretty hard to see on the video. I apologise for that. And if I play it, okay, it hasn't overwritten the bulb, but it has overwritten the surrounds on the bulb. So you can see how it's switching between red, green, and blue as the song goes on. I'm not quite sure why the grey didn't overwrite. Okay, there it is there. Okay, so you've got the grey on the bulb bottom, which stays constantly on. You've got the flashing going on the bulb surround, and the face, of course, is obeying the colours on the face. So if you wanted to change the eye colour, you would, of course, come up here. So currently they're green, so obviously that colour, if I want his eyes to be blue, I change them to blue. And if I wanted his mouth to be white, then clearly this here has to be white. Okay, so blue eyes. Now I've got a red mouth. No idea why I've got a red mouth. Now I've got a blue mouth. First colour is the mouth. Second colour is the eyes. Yeah. Yeah, second colour is the eyes. All right. And obviously that changes when I render the whole thing. So I got blue eyes, white mouth, and a colour surround. And again, I've lost the rendering on the... Okay. So yeah, so hopefully that's about it for faces.